How the session is going to work is we're going to do a bit of a presentation and a Q&A between myself, Sam and Laura, who I'm going to introduce in a moment. And then after that, there will be opportunity for any questions and feedback that any of you may have that come up during that, and anything you've got on environmental sustainability and the topic that we're covering. If you want to, you can put those questions in the chat at any point. So if you think of it there and then, we'll pick it up at the end when we go through questions and answers. Equally, if you want, you can put it in the chat towards the end when we get to that bit, or you can do the Teams hands up option as well in the questions and answer bit later on. So that's the flow that we're going to follow. I think probably that's the main bits of housekeeping that I've covered off. I'm also going to hopefully introduce a exclusive member survey to you as well on this call towards the end as well, looking at our climate action sustainability activity. So that will be towards the end if we've got time to do that as we get to that part. So the way the session is going to run is, this is about our award-winning sustainability strategy. So we're really proud to have recently won the Grosser Gold Award. So I'm going to give an overview in a moment of what we've done to achieve that, the things that we've done previously, the things we're looking at doing now, and then also I'm going to do a bit of a deeper dive on a couple of subjects within that. So to introduce ourselves, I'm Mike Pickering, Head of Sustainability at the Mid-Counties Co-operative. We've got Sam Laxton joining us from early years, Paediological Lead, so thanks Sam for joining us. And we've got Laura Wilson joining us as Head of Unity. And again, welcome Laura. We will go through what Unity is, and we'll go through a bit about what early years as well is later on. And also Karen McNeil, who will help us with the facilitation of questions and everything as we go through. So thank you all, and thanks for the members in attendance. So I am going to share my screen, so bear with me one moment while I do that. And the first part will be a few slides I'm going to share, and then we'll go to a bit more of an interactive element between myself, Sam and Laura. So first of all, something that our society is really proud of is winning the Grosser Gold Awards 2025 for our Sustainability Initiative of the Year category. And the reason we won it was because of our member-led sustainability strategy. And this, as an award itself, is a really, within the retail sector, a really prestigious award, very competitive. So we're really proud to have been able to have won this award, and it's a really good achievement for our society to have done so. So I'm going to talk through for a few minutes on the main reasons why we were successful in that particular award. The first element goes right to our purpose and our trust pillars that we've got in place as a society. Our purpose is, through the power of cooperation, we're building a fair and more sustainable and ethical future. So therefore, straight away, we have sustainability right at the core of our purpose. Underpinning that, introduced within recent years, is our trust pillars, and these are our strategic pillars that measure our performance against that purpose. And as you can see on there, one of those is sustainable impact. So this really shows the core of everything we do, working with members to make a sustainable difference locally in our community. So a really important strand of activity that we've got. But I'm going to take us back to 2021 to 2022, when we actually first set our member-led sustainability strategy, and as our 5-year plan. Now, what we did at that time, certainly I've worked for the society for a number of years, for 19 years, and I feel that what we did in 21-22 was some of the most in-depth research that we'd done at that point when it comes to environmental sustainability and climate action and broader sustainability, because we carried out a range of interaction with our members over that period through member surveying, insights work, and also member events to identify what matters most to our members from a broader sustainability point of view. So this was looking at environmental sustainability, but also community, health and well-being, financial viability, so the broad range of sustainability. And we did that, as I say, through those surveys, but also through events. And with the events, they're events very similar to this type of event, an online event. And we had industry experts in those sessions as well. So climate change experts, economy experts, various people that could interact with us and our members to really talk through some of the key issues of the time. And at the core of that was our sustainable development goals. And one of the things that's really interesting being a co-op and being member owned is there are 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, and there are over 160 sub-targets within those goals. So a business, it's very difficult for a business to really prioritize and achieve all of those goals, and to sometimes work out what are the most important goals to that business and that they can influence. The great thing about being member owned is we can reach out to you, our members, to find out what really matters most into your community. So we were able to then set our sustainability strategy around that, finding out what mattered most and really prioritize amongst those goals. And that's what we did. So we used all that feedback and all that information that we gathered to then create our sustainability strategy. And as you can see, it's on the screen in front of us. This is the broader area of sustainability. So on the left-hand side is where we focused on fairer, and our members said the importance of supporting those facing barriers into employment. So supporting those into employment through employability schemes, and that's the fairer strand. The ethical strand on the right-hand side is very much about supporting the co-op movement, supporting development of new co-ops and the co-op economy, and really showcasing what co-ops are all about. The middle strand is what this session is mainly focused on, and this is what our award win was all about. And this is what we identified within the environmental sustainability side of things. And this is where we prioritize energy efficiency, community renewable energy, renewables, food waste, and nature stewardship as key aspects that we want to then really focus on. And at the bottom, you can see those sustainable development goals that came out as well. So that was our strategy that was led by our members and continues to be led and shaped by our members. So the key differences that we've been able to make as a result of that strategy work are summarised on the next two slides. The first one is around our focus on reducing our direct greenhouse gas emissions and energy efficiency. So our biggest direct greenhouse gas emission is electricity usage across our trading sites. It's our biggest sort of chunk of that particular aspect. So we've really focused on driving that down through energy saving activity. And we've actually reduced our direct greenhouse gas emissions by 37% since 2019 as a result of this activity. Now, from an energy reduction point of view, the investment we've made has also made us significantly reduce our energy usage year on year. So last year reduced it by 6%, and that was off the back of the previous year reducing it year on year by 11%. So it really has made ongoing positive progression against that particular target. We've invested over £9 million over the last 3 years in energy efficiency, and that's replacing refrigeration and getting lower energy and improved lighting in a number of our sites. Embracing technology has been a really good one for us. So working with an organisation called LoConnex, we've installed automation technology across our refrigeration, heating and cooling in our food stores. And this enables us to remotely monitor and control things like refrigeration, heating and cooling, which really is making us make a lot of positive energy savings in that particular strand of work. And underpinning all of that is our colleague behaviours and the colleagues' actions that we've got in place within our business. A lot of these things wouldn't work unless our colleagues really embraced it and really managed it effectively, such as the technology in LoConnex, or even simple things like switching things off when they're not in use. So those things have been a real focus for us and have really helped us make a difference and drive down our greenhouse gas emissions. From a broader environmental sustainable impact point of view, we've recently gone into partnership with an organisation called Big Solar Co-op, and we did this about a year or so ago. And a really interesting one for this particular partnership, it was actually off the back of a colleague competition that we had, where we asked colleagues to identify a co-op that we could work with that we aren't currently working with. A number of ideas were put forward. Big Solar Co-op was the winning idea, and we went to partnership with them, and since then have worked with them to install solar panels on a number of our sites, which is making a really positive difference. So over 550 panels in place, making a really significant reduction, significant impact when it comes from a carbon reduction point of view. And we've got more sites planned working with Big Solar as well in that area. From a community energy point of view, I won't touch on this in too much detail because in a moment I'm going to speak to Laura about this in a bit more detail. But essentially through this partnership we've got with Unity, which we'll introduce, we're making a really significant impact in that community renewable energy space, which we're really proud of, and we'll come on to that in a bit more detail. The final strand is what we're doing to tackle food waste. So we identified that an area we can really focus on from a waste reduction point of view is by reducing the number of food waste items that are thrown out from our food stores. So essentially those items that we were unable to sell and unfortunately had to then be thrown out. But when I say thrown out, we do actually send all of that waste to an anaerobic digester facility, which produces renewable energy. But even so, we still want to reduce the amount we're sending to that and try and ensure that more of it is being used where possible and consumed. So we've done a number of things in that area. We've made a big difference, first of all. So we've reduced it by 25% since 2019, and we're on track to achieve that by 30% by the end of this financial year that we're in at the moment. We've done it for operational processes, so by trying to improve our stock ordering, understanding the algorithms of food required and what's being sold. So we've improved that area using some technology to help us do that. But we've also worked in partnership with a couple of organisations to help us with that as well. One of those is Too Good To Go, which enables us to proactively notify our members through an app that products are available for discounted sale. So that's really helped us sell more of those products through the Too Good To Go app, which would have otherwise potentially be going to waste. The other partnership we've got is working with an organisation called Olio, and this enables us to donate those food products that we were unable to sell to those that need it. So once it's gone past that ability for us to actually sell it on that day, Olio volunteers collect the food and redistribute it for us to people that need that food. And through Olio, we've actually enabled, since commencing the partnership with them in, I think it was August last year, we've enabled 300,000 items of food waste to be donated through Olio. So a combination of all that activity has really made us make a positive difference in those particular areas. So I'm just going to come away from sharing my screen for a moment and talking about the areas of impact that we've just gone through there. There we go. I'm just going to go in now to go in a little bit more detail on a couple of those areas, because a lot of the things I've talked about we're able to achieve is because of the partnership working that we've got in place. And I've given you some examples there, the partnerships that we've got in place. But the one I want to just talk about a little bit more in detail is our work with Unity. So I'll bring Laura into the conversation now. So Laura, thanks for joining this call. Do you have a few questions to ask you, Laura, to bring Unity to life a bit and sort of explain what it is that is taking place there? So first of all, Laura, you're head of Unity. So can you just explain a little bit about what Unity is in the first instance?
Sure, thanks, Mike. Evening, everyone. Unity is a joint venture between the Mid-Counties Co-op and Octopus Energy, names I'm sure you're very familiar with. We were set up in 2019, so end of last year we had our 5-year anniversary. And the purpose of Unity and why we were set up is to support the development of the community energy sector in the UK. We're able to call on expertise from both our parent companies, and the reason we were set up prior to 2019, Mid-Counties Co-op had a business called Co-op Energy, and Co-op Energy was sold to Octopus Energy at that time, but it remains a white label product for Octopus, so we can still have Co-op Energy tariffs. Previously, Co-op Energy was very heavily involved in the community energy sector. They're both sort of rooted in the ethos of cooperatives and cooperative values. So both Octopus and the Mid-Counties kind of wanted to retain that close link with the community energy sector. So Unity was set up to help facilitate that and remain close and embedded within the community energy sector. So our bread and butter, what we do mainly is buy electricity from community energy projects and groups in England, Wales and Scotland, and that energy through what's called a power purchase agreement, and that electricity is ring fenced into one of Co-op Energy's tariffs called the Community Power Tariff, which is a standard domestic customer tariff, and households that sign up to this tariff can say that they're getting their energy generated from community-owned schemes. So Community Power Tariff, I think, remains the only domestic energy tariff in the UK that is solely community generated. So it's a real feather in our cap to have that within our portfolio. So that's our main area of focus. We do a couple of other things as well, which I'll come on to.
Thanks, Laura. That's great. Could you expand a bit more on what community energy is?
Sure, yeah, because we're a small team and we're so embedded in the sector that we forget that it's actually still quite a niche topic, even though we think it's absolutely fascinating and more people should know about it. But community energy basically refers to projects and schemes and organisations that are energy projects that are controlled and owned by community members through cooperatives or community benefit societies. So there's kind of two main areas of community energy, sort of powering up projects, so that's community owned generation assets, sort of community owned solar farms, wind turbines, community owned rooftops arrays on community buildings, schools, whatever it might be, or Mid-Counties stores. And then there's another side of community energy, which is community-led energy advice. So that's community energy groups, cooperatives, providing household support to households that might be struggling with energy bills, and they can provide impartial energy advice to them, and sort of signpost them to any grants that might be available to them, and really be trusted sources of advice rather than being sort of linked to an installer or anything like that. So it's really trying to encourage people to think about how they use energy, how they buy energy, and community-owned schemes. You can invest in these projects and get a return on your investment, and any profits arising from these projects are reinvested back into community benefit or into new projects. So it's really taking local ownership and control over energy assets and keeping money locally within a community rather than it going to multinational that might be based in like the Cayman Islands or whatever it might be. So it's about encouraging people to take control over their energy. And it's on the rise. It's on the ascendancy, community energy. It's people might have been aware that this GB Energy was set up by the new government last year, and it's really got a remit and a mandate to embed community energy within that. And there's what's emerging now is something called the local power plan, which is going to set out how GB Energy is going to interact with communities, and community energy is really going to be front and centre of the growth of renewables in the UK. So it's a really, really exciting time to be in community energy.
I mean, it's such a great example of local community ownership, community energy. It really is. Could you outline how Unity is helping the development of community energy further?
Yeah, so obviously we purchase the electricity from the schemes through our power purchase agreements, and that helps create kind of an income stream and a route to market for community energy projects. And we always try and, we have to be led by the energy market, but we always try to provide a really fair price for the electricity that we buy. And another thing is, we always say, like, no community energy project too small. We will buy electricity from, we don't have a minimum size. A lot of our competitors will have a minimum size of array or wind turbine. We don't. We will buy electricity from any willing and able community energy group. So that's kind of what, and another thing about Unity is, because we're a small team, like I said, but we're all involved in community energy groups in a volunteer capacity as well. We're directors of community energy groups, so that we're able to provide a really supportive free advice and support for new community energy groups or emerging community energy groups. So we can provide that really in-depth support to the community energy groups that we buy from. And we actually, as Mike said, we work with around a third of community energy projects in the UK. So that's really testament to kind of the customer service that we can provide. In addition, we've got a number of other support services. We've got what's called the Connect platform. So community energy in the main is still largely volunteer-led. There are a small number of very successful and innovative groups that have paid member staff, but it is mainly volunteer-led. And we recognise that sometimes community energy groups, like all volunteer-led organisations, kind of struggle with gaps in their skills and their experience and their capacity. So through the Connect platform, what we tried to do is create almost like a matchmaking forum where a community energy group can say, we are looking for someone with skills in these areas, and match them with people who might want to get into the community energy space, or with young people who are looking to build on their skills and experience, or maybe want to enter a career in the energy sector, and it will give them really valuable experience. So we're really proud of that platform and the way it's developing. We also have our grant fund available to groups who we have power purchase agreements with, so we have small grants available to help them support their sort of social impact projects. So that could be, we've funded projects ranging from installing CCTV on a community energy on a solar farm, or help plant trees to help provide a screen so people can't see a solar farm if that's a particular issue in an area. Or helping with energy advice cafes to help support community-led energy advice. And finally, we've got a loan scheme for community energy projects to help bridge a gap between sort of construction finance, basically, that a short-term loan that can help plug a gap. Community energy groups, kind of especially if they're new, would struggle to find finance or get cheap, affordable finance for a project, a solar farm, whatever that might be. And this really provides a short-term solution for them in an affordable way that they can then get their project up and running.
Yeah, and I think, thanks, Laura. I think the range of things that are in place are really impressive. And I really like this, like the idea of matching the skill sets through the Community Connect platform. I think that's a really good piece of work. I mean, is there final question for now for yourself, Laura? How can members get more involved in supporting community energy?
Yeah, well, it's a good question because there's a number of things really. I mean, on a pure level, if people want to get involved in their local community energy group, we can provide Community Energy England, or if there are people on the call from Wales or Scotland, there's sort of member body for the community energy sector in those areas, have maps and lists of community energy groups available in their area. You might be able to find your local community energy group. Or you could sign up to our Connect platform if you want to offer your skills, whatever they might be, social media or technical skills or legal skills, and offer your support in that way. On a more basic level, we feel at Unity that one of the biggest barriers to the growth of the community energy sector is the fact that it's still really, really quite niche and not many people know about it. As I've said this before on a call, like I've worked in the sector for 10 years and my family would struggle to explain it to someone else what I do. So it's kind of raising the profile of community energy and realizing that it's, as the sector grows and as there is political ambition and it's encouraged to grow, that people can participate in it. Just to touch on something that's quite exciting that we're working on at Unity, there's recently been a legislation change which means that domestic customers and business customers will be able to kind of match their electricity consumption to generators, be that sort of a community owned scheme or otherwise. So what we're really encouraging people to do is sign up to our community power tariff and take advantage of schemes like that, because that will really stimulate the demand and for community energy projects. It'll create kind of a virtuous circle really of community generated electricity and demand on the customer side. So yeah, if you want to get involved in your local group, that's a really good way. But even on a sort of more basic level, just being aware that these projects exist up and down the country and you can buy electricity from them will help stimulate the demand for them.
Thanks, Laura. That's fantastic. And just a reminder for everyone on the call, especially anyone that's joined sort of in the last sort of 20 minutes, 15 minutes or so, if anybody has any questions that they sort of get triggered by what Laura's been talking about or anything I've talked about in the opening slides as well, feel free to put it in the chat function if you think of it at the moment, or save it till later. And there'll also be a bit of time at the end as well if you've got any questions for myself, Laura, and Sam, who I'll come on to now. I think one of the great things about working for the Mid Counties Co-op is the variety of businesses and the variety of activity that we're involved with. And from a sustainability point of view, I talked through at the start a lot of our probably more operational side of things and the things that are making a fantastic difference, particularly in our food stores and perhaps our operational branches. But what's really great for us is being able to engage the next generation. And that's where I'm going to bring Sam in from our early years pedagoggical lead. So hello, Sam. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Pleasure. So first question for you, Sam. Can you provide an overview of our early years business to begin with?
Yes, so we now have 46 wonderful nurseries across our estate. Our newest setting is the Kingsgrove Nursery in Oxford, Wantage area, and that opened its doors on the 1st of September and is off to a flying start with the children and the family settling in really, really well. as you well know, a lot of our children have left or are leaving, so sad, to go to school and start on their next journey and adventure. So all of our nurseries have been super busy over the summer term, and have really gone above and beyond to celebrate children graduating and going to school. And they've done this through special ceremonies, certificate presentations, just to really recognise those children as individuals and their achievements. So that was really lovely. And a lot of the nurseries were uploading those photos onto our colleague Facebook group, and sharing lots of ideas and things. But it's really quite wonderful to see children going on to that next stage in their lives. Across the estate at the moment, as you well know, we're getting, with the funding that's in place, that's come into place as well, which is great, by the way. There's a real strong focus on welcoming and settling, obviously, our new children and families, as well as supporting children with transitioning through the nursery, and moving up to the next age and stage. Really exciting. We've been in a position at the moment to be able to write our own curriculum, which we've really been able to make unique to us as a business, but also as a society, which has been lovely because we've really been able to bring those DOES values to life in our curriculum, and our little pioneers who are just behind me, which is Ping, Ella, Alice, Charlie, and Ebo. So there they are. And we've really brought these characters to life because actually, when you're looking at our, big competitors out there, Bright Horizons, they've got Bright Futures, Busy Bees have got Be Curious as their curriculum. Ours is actually called the Pioneering Pathway, because we know that all children's journey is going to look slightly different, and they're going to all be on a different pathway. So that's what ours is going to be called. And we're really going to bring these little pioneers to life, because actually we are in a real position as an organisation that actually other organisations don't have the wonderful characters like we do. So we're currently launching our new curriculum. And then the next thing we're looking at doing is we're all preparing for Practitioner Day. So we're all getting really excited about that. That happens on the 17th of October. But this isn't just a day for our colleagues within our organisation at Mid Counties. This is us networking with all those other big competitors within the early years, and really recognising our colleagues as practitioners, and all the amazing and incredible work that they do with our children every day. So yeah, that's a day that we're going to celebrate all our early years practitioners and make a real big fuss of them and thank them for all their hard work. So that's what's coming.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Sam. So how are our nurseries engaging early years children in sustainability then?
So when I look at this, I was thinking, actually, we do quite a lot when it comes to sustainability. So we know that we play a vital role in sustainability in the early years. And as an educator myself and working with colleagues, we really help children to form eco-friendly habits from a very young age and make that connection to the world around them. So just a few examples. So as part of sustainability, a lot of our nurseries have got growing areas. So the children grow their own fruit and vegetables, and specifically one of our sites in Chichester in the south, which is where I'm from. One of the colleagues there is very green fingered and extremely committed to her growing garden, and she keeps it very well. And alongside the children, they've grown potatoes, tomatoes, courgettes, cucumbers, and they've grown so many. They've actually shared them with some of the families in the community and take them to the local care homes and things like that. But what's lovely that they're doing in-house is that Michelle will, the children will grow the vegetables, they'll wash them, and actually the potatoes were cooked by the on-site chef, and the children actually ate them at the meal times, which is lovely. So that whole process is followed through, and it's talking to children about, what we're growing, what's good for our bodies, etc., which is lovely. In our outdoor areas, we've got lots of things to show respect for living things around the environment. So we've got bug hotels, wildlife areas. At Co-op House and head office you would see the beehives. Also in Littlehampton, Body Shop they call it, again another South nursery, they've made a hedgehog house out of large logs and branches, and they actually do have a hedgehog that goes in there, which is lovely. So really, you know, creating those habitats and teaching children to love and respect and take care of living things. We also use lots within like learning through play. So we use songs, storybooks. We take part in upcoming events like Earth Day or World Water Week, and we really implement that through our planning processes and provide really exciting, high quality experiences for children to learn about those particular topic areas. We've also got recycling bins where children recycle paper, plastic. We do a lot around food waste, which is quite interesting to hear you talk about there, Mike, because our chefs are really on board with looking at our food proportions and our waste, and you know, composting and things like that. So that's really good to see. A lot of what children use material wise in the environment is around things that are reusable. So we use a lot of things like loose parts, and we get parents to bring in things that they collect on the way into nursery, like the pine cones, sticks, things like that. So we use very much open-ended resources, so children can use that and play, and it can be anything they want it to be. We also, through our Eco Schools programme, which is a program, it's an initiative that we've opted into, but actually that is huge on sustainability, and it's got 7 different topic areas, which is water, energy, nursery grounds. There's so many, I could be here all day, but just to give you an example, so we teach children really simple lessons like turning off taps when we're looking at the topic water. We use sand timers where that helps to reduce the water so it's not wasted, but we also there's children that are selected to be water warriors, so they really hound their friends to ensure that they're turning the taps off quite promptly when they're not in use, so that's good. And we actively involve the families in the community. Obviously, from being part of a bigger organisation, we know that community led is really important to us. So we do lots of eco projects with our parents, with you know, the care homes, the communities. We do litter picks, we do donation drives, and really share sustainable living top tips through our news feeds on family. Family's a system that we use as a platform to communicate with parents on socially, so that's quite good. And our colleagues really champion sustainability with children by valuing and respecting food. So we choose when we do messy play and creative play things, we choose not to use food, because actually we should be teaching children the importance of how to respect food, and actually we shouldn't be playing with it, we should be eating and, you know, making those really good everyday healthy choices. So just showing children really that those small actions like not wasting food can help protect the planet. And within our curriculum, going back to the pioneering pathway, we've really ensured that we've embedded sustainability throughout our curriculum, because we want children to be curious, respectful and responsible citizens of the world.
Wow, that's brilliant, Sam. I think so many things you've just said. I think I need to engage my own kids in some of that stuff. I think that's amazing. I love the idea of water warriors. And I think I said to you before, Sam, I was at an event for business in the community a few weeks ago, and one of the things that really stood out with that was that the people's shaping of how they see things from an environmental point of view is really shaped really early on, up to the age of 4 years of age, and that's the most informative time for people to get that relationship with the environment and that support of eco and everything like that. And the fact that we've obviously got the early years business pushing that is amazing. What are you most proud of working for our early years business?
I mean, how long have you got? I'm proud every day. And again, looking at that, actually, I'm so proud of the colleagues and how they drive this. And that makes me extremely proud to know that we're already doing lots, but there's also lots that we still got to learn and that we're working on, and we appreciate that. But I've been with the society a number of years, the same as you, Mike, not quite as long as you, but around 17 years, and I'm extremely proud to work for Mid Counties, and I've had a number of proud moments, but I've only got 10 minutes, so I'm going to keep it quite short and sweet. But I'm really proud to work with such a talented and supportive group of people in our quality team. They're people that are driven, and actually people that truly love what they do, and they do know that they make a real difference to the lives of our children and families. And as you said, those first 5 years are extremely important, and actually the work that we do around those first 5 years to really help build those strong foundations for children, not just for their learning, but their overall well-being and future success. That's something that I'll always be proud of. And when you see children in an environment, Kingsgrove being our newest setting, I was heavily involved in the ordering of the resources, the furniture, the environments, training up the colleagues. And to go in and see that brought to life through our curriculum is something quite special. And to hear the parents say, oh, it's lovely here, it's magical, I would love to be a child here. It's those sorts of comments you think, yeah, we are doing a really good job, and we're making such an impact as a whole team. And we've really, the colleagues that I work with on my team within the early years, they're deeply committed, and I think it's one of those things, we're continuously improving, but we've all got that shared purpose in what makes our work truly inspiring, and that is the children, the families, our colleagues, and our teams. So I'm extremely proud of that, and I think I'm on the receiving end now, where I'm a mum and I've got a 21-month-old daughter who is an absolute breath of fresh air. And she goes to a Little Pioneers nursery, and I've had such a wonderful experience. And my two nieces, actually, funnily enough, there's a year between them. They both work at the Little Pioneers now, and one's doing an apprenticeship with us. And she's only 17, and that's when I first started at that nursery doing an apprenticeship at that age. So she's sort of following in my footsteps. But I come from a big family, so I'm sure if we've got recruitment issues, I can help backfill in the nursery with some of my nieces. But yeah, it's lovely that my family and my little one goes to a nursery, and I'm really proud of that. So yeah.
Thanks, Sam. That's really inspiring. From up and coming activities, are there any open days coming up that members can attend to learn a bit more about if they're interested in their, obviously, children attending any of our early years nurseries?
Yes, of course. I mean, these events are great because you get to see and meet other parents and children and the colleagues, and you get to go in and the children go and see the nursery for itself. We've just had an open day, so you've just missed it. But I've just been informed that we welcomed 349 families through our doors. I believe was it last Saturday? It might have been the Saturday before, but it's only just happened. But that's incredible. That's an incredible amount of families we've had come through. Our next open day, if you would like to go to one, is the 17th of January between the hours of 10 and 12. So please feel free to contact the nursery within your area, or if you want to go further afield, should you wish to book a visit, and I'm sure they'll be happy to accommodate you.
Thanks, Sam. That's great. So thank you,
No
Sam.
worries.
Thank you, Laura, for both of your input and the response to those questions. Really insightful. It's fantastic. We're going to open it up to any questions that anyone else has got, if anyone's got any questions. As I said, feel free you can put your hand up if you want to, using the hand up function, and ask your question, or you can put it in the chat section if you have got a question. Also interested to hear, and again, more than happy if you want to write it in the chat if you prefer, any areas that you would like us to consider focusing on moving forward from an environmental sustainability point of view. We're really keen to get members' views on the areas that matter most to you, as well as obviously asking us any questions about the things that you've heard. So that would be really useful. As I said, in a moment, I am going to share a link, hopefully, to a member survey that we're going to be launching in early October. But it'd be really great to get yourselves to have a look at it as well, which would be really good. So thank you. So I will go to Karen actually to help facilitate any questions that are coming in, if that's okay, Karen.
Yeah, that's fine. So Jason has put, if I understand Unity correctly, would it mean you could support a local school to put solar panels on their buildings to reduce electricity costs and utilise renewable energy. But then when the school is closed due to holidays, they don't need the energy, sell it to the grid, and the community uses it as an income generator.
Great question. Great question. I'll bring Laura in first of all, if that's okay, Laura, to just pick up on that.
Yeah, sure. Yes, in theory, that is correct. That would be a rooftop, obviously a rooftop solar project, and for the community energy model to work best, as you've correctly surmised, you want as much electricity to be used on site as possible, because you get you can sell directly to the school or whatever it is and get a higher level of payment for the electricity than you would be able to do if you sold to through a power purchase agreement to Unity. But that's in theory, yes. When the school's not at weekends or in the holidays, Unity would buy the power from the school that's not being used on site. For new community energy projects and schemes, you want to kind of make them just the solar arrays as large as possible, because economies of scale make it more affordable that way. Unity itself don't necessarily kind of offer project development support for things like that, but if it's something that you wanted to chat about in more detail, we can certainly signpost you to a couple of organisations that would be able to help a local school, if you've got one in mind, to develop a community-owned solar scheme in partnership with you.
Thanks, Laura, and thanks for the question, Jansen. That's really good question, a really good point. But yeah, definitely echo those words from Laura. If there's any further conversation you'd like to have, then yeah, definitely keen to support anything on that. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions in there, Karen, at the moment?
No. Are Unity doing anything particular innovation to generate electricity? Excuse me. Or partnering with organisations? I'm sure most electricity comes from wind in this country, but do you support any innovative organisations who might be looking at alternatives such as tidal power or much smaller wind devices that can be used on building roofs, for example? Other options, as I'm sure the wind or sun always isn't on, but the tide is always predictable.
Indeed, yeah. We do work, you're right, wind as a proportion of offshore wind as a proportion of the electricity mix, and is by far the biggest contributor on the renewables sector. But Unity tends to work with three types of renewable technology, wind being the onshore wind being the largest by sort of capacity volume, ground mounted solar, so solar farms, rooftop solar, so the majority of our projects by number are rooftop solar projects, but by capacity it's actually a small proportion of our portfolio, and hydro projects. So those hydro projects are mainly in areas that support hydro, that being Scotland and North Wales. So we do kind of work with a range of technologies. Community tidal is a very tricky one. To my knowledge, there's no viable tidal schemes in the UK, just because the capital costs are so enormous that it's not something that has been explored much to date. But as the economies as the economics change, that might be something that will be explored in the future. I think Swansea Bay or something is exploring that. From a community perspective, it's not really something at present that a community-owned scheme could explore, just because the capital requirements for that would be, I think, too great to be raised by a sort of community bond or community share raise. But as a technology, I think it would come down the line. And sort of wider point, you're right, the wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't shine, but there is an awful lot of innovation going on within the energy market around, electricity storage, trying to encourage sort of flexibility services. So particularly with big and energy intensive businesses, encouraging them to switch off if they can, switch off at times of when the electricity grid is stressed, and use more of the electricity when there's kind of a surplus of electricity. So there's an awful lot of innovation going on in how to balance the generation with the demand, and that's the emerging kind of theme in the energy markets at the moment.
Does that
Right.
answer your question, Jansen?
Thanks, Laura.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. That's great. Thanks, Jansen. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else in there at the moment, Karen?
No, not in the chat, Mike.
What I'll do is before we run out of time, I will share my screen, because I've got this I've already built this survey up, haven't I, as well? I'm going to share my screen for a second, and I will then explain what this is. So bear with me. Right, I'll skip past that and I'll come back to that one. So what we will be launching, as I say, I think it's around the 6th of October when we're planning on doing it, is a survey to our members to explore the types of things that matter most to our members when it comes to environmental sustainability and climate change. So similar to what we did in 21-22, starting to explore that again and finding out which areas matter most to our members. So as an opportunity of attending this evening, we've got that exclusive opportunity to actually complete the survey. You don't have to do it now, but what you can do now, if you're able to, is use your mobile device to scan in this barcode. And this is a test to see if it works, obviously, as well. If you scan that barcode in, then it will, sorry, that QR code, it will then appear on your device. And it means that you can, Sam, is that a thumbs up? Yep. Okay, that's good. And it means you can complete it in your own time. You don't have to do it now. You don't have to have it done by the next couple of minutes before we finish this session. It just means, and the thing that would be really helpful for us for two reasons. One is because it actually enables us to test this survey before it goes out broader, which is great, because it means that we can obviously have a look at some of the responses and sort of see whether we've got the right questions at the right level and that type of thing. And also, as it gives you the opportunity to be the first to have a go at completing the survey as well. I'll leave this on for a minute, but then what I'll also do is I will share in the chat the actual web link, which again you should be able to click on in the chat function in Teams as well if you've not been able to get on via this QR code. So there's two ways of accessing it. So I will just leave this on for a few seconds longer. More than happy to put it back up again at the end as well if we need to. So the other way of accessing this survey, if I stop sharing, is I'm going to try and copy and paste. In fact, what I might do, Karen, rather than trying to multitask and fail, would you like to go through the up and coming events slide? Is that okay? The up and coming events slide with everyone while I multitask to try and put this link in the chat. Is that going to work,
Absolutely.
Karen? Are you able to share your screen or not? Or have I put you on the spot?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just bring the slide up and then I can share my screen.
Thank you.
Right. So right, can you all see my screen? Is that showing the events? Perfect. So we've got a couple more events in the next couple of months. In fact, we've got events all year planned in, but the end of September on the 29th, we've got this one on, and this is an online one as well. This is Community DFib. It's World Heart Day on the 29th of September, Monday. So in conjunction with Community Heartbeat Trust, we've got a session there which will tell members just how important DFibs are and also show you how to use them. We've got a number of these on our stores at the moment, and in total they've been used 41 times. So it shows there is an actual need for defibrillators out there, but it's a really good visual session that shows you just how easy it is to use a defibrillator. So that's the end of September. Then obviously we've got our half yearly meeting on the 7th of October. Again, that is online hybrid, or if you wanted to come up to Warwick, our head office, you can you're more than welcome to join us there. If not, it's online. And then the rest of October, we've got a deaf awareness communication tips and BSL basics on Wednesday, the 8th of October. That's been done by one of our community partners, Zebra Access. So they're just going to give top tips and basic BLS, just so that BSL, sorry, just so that they can. You can just do the normal things like hello, goodbye, and simple questions. We've got another event on the Thursday, on the 9th, which is the Big Solar. Mike's already spoken briefly about Big Solar. So it's the Big Solar and Mid Counties Co-operative working in partnership to deliver a sustainable impact. So that's on the 9th. And then on the 13th, Monday the 13th, we've got an in-store event if anybody lives near Chipping Norton. So we'll have members of the community team there for you to go in, talk to about anything really, but mainly about, we've got our new grants, the Doing Good Together Fund. If you know of any groups that you would like funding to go to, or just pop along, come and see us. And that's it for October. And then we will have some more in November and December, but that's what's coming up in the next month and end of this month.
Thanks, Karen. That's brilliant. Thank you. I have also shared the web link in the chat as well, if people weren't able to access the QR code. We'll just take one final question that's come in. So thanks, Luke, for the question that's come in. So I think this is a combination of myself and Laura. We'll have a go at answering this one. I'll just read it out, Laura. I don't know if you've seen it, but basically PV installations tend to have about 25 years of life. In terms of community projects you buy from, you say you buy from around a third of them. What proportion are in the final 5 years of life? So that's the first bit. And then the second element is, how will Unity work with these? What might the life stage projects need? And does Mid Counties have any financing available for recovering material from recycled panels from the decommission of projects if bought from? Will these factors impact operations in next trading year? So I think for the first part, for the actual panels themselves, Laura, from a Unity point of view, is that anything you've got a view on at all?
Yes, I mean, community energy is in its relative infancy, so the majority of the projects that we work on are likely to be in the region of 10 years or younger, maybe 15. So we haven't necessarily come across a project that needs to be re-energized. Obviously, life expectancies of panels and efficiencies of panels is increasing all the time. So sort of projects that more newly installed projects have a life expectancy of greater than 25 years. So it's not necessarily something we are engaged with in the immediate future. But you're right, very much so, that in the next 10 odd years there will be a number of a proportion of community owned projects that will either need to be decommissioned or re-energized with new panels. And I'll leave Mike to answer the question about the recycled solar panels. And what I will just quickly say is the way in which the community energy schemes work is that they for the rooftop solar projects, those project arrangements are governed by a legal agreement, usually a lease, and Mike will know this from his work with the Big Solar Co-op. So the community energy group enters into a license or a lease with the building, with the school, whatever it is, and that basically gives the group a right to kind of occupy the roof space for that period. That's usually in the region of 15 to 20, 25 years that you have the rights over that roof. At the end of that, there's usually a clause in the lease or license that says at the end of that period, the community energy group will either remove the panels at their cost or gift the panels to the building for them to just take advantage of free electricity in perpetuity until they kind of stop being efficient, or they can replace the panels. So that, yeah, it's kind of baked into the community energy model, that 20-25 years. That's slightly outdated now in a way, because the life expectancy of panels and efficiencies is getting greater and greater all the time.
Thanks, Laura, and thanks for the question, Luke, because it's a really good question. I think from a financing point of view, we haven't got any financing set aside that we have allocated for this type of thing for recovering materials from recycled solar panels. But the benefit of this call that we've got now is to try and look at things that matter most to you, our members, and actually I'll take that one away to see if it's something that we can play a part in at any point in the future around that element of obviously the panels getting to the end of their life, recyclability, and if there's any option for support in that area, something that I can look at within the strand of work that we've got. So really appreciate the question and the feedback on it. Now, we have reached our 7 o'clock. So I do thank you all very much for your attendance and your input involvement. Really do appreciate it. Thanks for everyone for the insight that you gave. And I'll say good night to everyone. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot, everyone.